Worthy by design. Hello there. It is such a delight that you joined us on today's edition of Worthy by Design, brought to you by Advent Cable Network Nigeria, ACNNTV. On this show, we focus on the journey from girlhood to womanhood and everything in between. I'm Iberi Chims. Welcome. Now, looking good, they say, is good business. There's a certain gender that was created with the finest of materials. You know who they are? You guessed right, the women. Now you understand why we don't just love to look good, but we talk about it at every opportunity. Today our conversation is on being stylish on a budget, and it will address the questions of how your outfit can affect your confidence, productivity, and even the opportunities you attract. To give a professional and practical perspective to this whole conversation is Lady Etienne Akwanusu. Did I get your name?
Absolutely.
Beautiful name.
Thank you.
She is an etiquette coach, an author, an entrepreneur, an engineer, and the list goes on and on. It's good to have you.
Thank you. I'm delighted to be here.
Maybe I should start from, how do you wear all these caps and still look so put together?
Honestly speaking, I don't know. I just know that I do it.
All right, let's go to the conversation. Stylish on a budget. Should women look stylish?
Is that a question?
I don't know.
The answer is absolutely yes.
And why should we look stylish?
We don't even have an option. That is it. We don't have an option. The reason why you must look stylish as a woman is because your looks affect your overall, how do I put it? Your look actually affects your overall feeling of yourself. So the way that you look when you step out of the house in the morning is what influences the way that you're going to feel about the day.
True.
So looking stylish is important because when you begin to attract those beautiful compliments, it gives you that boost of self-confidence. So,
you know, that brings to mind when you step out of the house and someone says, see how good you look. You feel yourself a bit.
Exactly.
And it's like, oh yeah, actually I'm feeling myself.
Exactly.
Okay, now, some people think it's vain to look good. Is it really vain?
Extremism of anything can be bad or is bad. Anything that is done in excess is bad. So I think it's at the level where it becomes excessive that, people can begin to look at it as vanity, as vain. But if you just want to look good, basically, as a human being, look decent, there is nothing vain about it. So you must look good. You don't even have a choice if you want to attract the right kind of, or send out the right perception about who you are.
Okay, so what should influence my sense of fashion or style?
That's a good question. I think what should influence anyone's sense of style is exactly the perception that they want to give out to the people, to the onlooker or anyone they will be dealing with. Psychologists ration that an impression is made within the first 6 seconds of a person meeting you. So when a person sees you for the first 6 seconds, what do they see? They don't see your brain. They
True.
don't see your experiences.
True.
They don't know what you're made up of. It's your physical appearance that is seen. That is what they are going to respond to or communicate with. So how you want to be addressed, how you want to be treated is what should influence the way that you dress.
Now we have, okay, you have said, you know, it should be a question of the message you're trying to send out. Do I have to be sending out the same kind of message every time?
So when it comes to style, there is an umbrella. Your style should define your person, basically. Now, different occasions might require different styles, right? But there should be something that is uniquely yours in each of these given situations, and that is actually your personality. So you might not look exactly the same way at every given situation or every given event, but there should be something that is consistent about your sense of style.
Now, yes, we have spoken about the fact that, okay, that's your outfit should speak about your personality, right? So now, is that always the case?
Well,
with ladies, right? You see them on a daily basis, you relate with them on a daily basis. Is that always the case?
If I get your question right, you're asking if how people look is always a reflection of their personality, right?
Yes.
I would say for the most part, yes, but it is not always the case. It's not always the case because it's not every time that people are mindful of what they are communicating in their dressing. So they could wear anything because maybe fashion dictates they should wear such, or a particular event demands of them to put on certain things, and that might not be exactly who they are. Or perhaps they are just in a different kind of mood, just laid back, and therefore they just go with what is convenient at that point in time. They are not really intentional about putting themselves together, putting their outfits together properly to project who they are. But for the most part, yes, because when you look at your closet, right, you might realize that you have, if I'm permitted to use the word, genre of clothing that are very similar. So each time you go out to shop a clothing item, you tend to be attracted to a particular trend of clothing. And that's because that's who you are. So you attract who you are.
All right, let's take this a niche further, right? How I dress in the morning and head off to work, can it have anything to do with my general productivity at work?
Absolutely.
Okay.
How you look definitely affects your productivity because, you know, when you look good, you feel good. So when you look at yourself in the mirror and you see that you look good, it already begins to give you that boost of confidence.
Like vibe.
You know, you can call it a vibe. And it's with that confidence that productivity comes because you reach out to opportunities. You're more outward. You're more
energetic,
right? And when people also begin to pay you compliments based on how impressive you look, that further boosts that confidence that we're talking about. So yes, your appearance affects your mood, which also affects your productivity.
All right. Further to this conversation, right? Let's talk about capacity and competence in relation to how you look and how you feel about the way you look.
Let's talk about competence, right? So the thing is, like I said earlier, people tend to judge you based on what they see. You might not be as competent to carry out a certain task, but because you have dressed the part, you have communicated that competence. So first of all, what will happen is that opportunities will be presented to you. It is up to you to go and work on your competence afterwards. So your dressing may not always tell how competent you are, in actuality, but that's the perception it will give to people if you dress right. For example, at formal situations, you're going for a corporate event and you dress the part. You dress like a business executive. I mean, you dress well enough to be seen as a business executive. One will want to interact with you. One would want to connect
Network.
with you. One would want to network with you and try to seize opportunities to work together with you. But if you do not look it, you first of all rob yourself of the opportunities that would have presented themselves because you have failed to look the part.
So you don't have a space at the table.
Thank you. You're not even invited to the table to show what you're capable of doing. So it's not always
The case.
But you can project that image and then do your homework after you have gotten the opportunity.
Okay, but how can we balance the need to look competent and be actually competent, right?
Yeah.
We hear people say, she fine for nothing. She never even sabi wetin she dey do. You know, so how do we balance this in order to not just be given a seat at the table, but be able to offer our competencies, you know, in a place that can be received? Not be giving a seat at the table and you have nothing to offer. You said homework. What if there's no space for the homework? You need to offer it like on the go.
So you have to first of all understand that your beauty is not enough. It's not enough to be beautiful. Whatever it is that is your niche, you should saddle yourself with the responsibility of being good at it. It's your responsibility, and funny enough, nobody can do this for you.
Sure.
You cannot hire a person to represent you when your personal competence is being tested.
True.
So you have to acquire the skill requisite for whatever career or niche profession it is that you claim to be engaged in. So you have to acquire the skill. If you need an education, you need to go to school. If you need to do some certifications, you need to get that done. You need to seize opportunities to practice, because there is just so much you can learn from school. The real education actually comes from the practical experience that you get. So you must seize the opportunity to actually do the work so that you can learn and become really competent, because there is only a lot that your beauty can do for you.
It can't take you so far.
No.
Okay. So, yes, your beauty is important, but ensure that you get the requisite competence to be able to climb the ladder. Right. Now, confidence. Where does that come in this whole looking good, dressing well scenario?
So confidence comes from the trust that you have in yourself, in your ability to carry out tasks. So if you do not feel that confidence comes from within, it's not really something that someone can give to you.
Or an outfit.
Yes, it's not really, I mean, your outfit can help boost your confidence, but it's something that must come from the inside. You must feel that you are competent. So that reminds me of the 3 C's of networking, you know, which is competence, confidence, and credibility.
Okay.
So when the confidence comes from you having that trust in yourself, in your ability to carry out certain responsibilities, and that trust comes from the knowledge that you have acquired, either through learning or practical experiences. So that is where confidence comes. We've already spoken about competence, and then there is credibility. You know, once you've been given an opportunity, that is where you're able to prove that
yourself.
You're credible, you know, and you can be further recommended for other opportunities.
Okay. So there is an issue of decency and elegance. How do we apply this to our daily looks?
Okay, so the question of decency actually comes from within. It comes from the values that you hold dear. And these values could be influenced or informed by society, upbringing, religion, and personal experience, which items I refer to as spirituality. So these are the things that informs those values that you hold dear. And if you do not have those values, then you begin to question what decency even means.
Really?
And when we talk about decency as well, you know what Lady A might term decent might be totally different from what Lady B would term decent, right? Because it's based on the values that they hold. It is based on their own standards. So for me, a decent dress, for example, is anything that
Doesn't
covers your skin from the neck all the way down below your knee. But another person might term decent dressing to be anything that is like a maxi, totally covering your skin, while another person might think that as far as I'm putting on a bikini, it is decent. So it now goes back to the values that you hold dear, and these values, the point where we must, as a society, focus on instilling these values is back at home. At the upbringing stage is very important, because most times when you lose it at that point, it's difficult. It's difficult for a person to now embrace the concept of decency. And at the end of the day, when I talk about experience, it's only with time when you now begin to experience the advantages of being decent and the disadvantages, because you are dressed as you dress.
Sure.
It's as simple as that. So it's not even something that you argue. Experience will teach you which way is actually appropriate, especially if you're looking at yourself as becoming a person of influence in the society. But elegance, on the other aspect, has to do with the way that you carry yourself. So you might wear a very beautiful and decent dress, but fail to be elegant at it. It's all about the composure, how you comport yourself at it. That is actually what elegance is all about.
Okay, let me take you back to the decency issue, right? Now, if a lady dresses in a way she terms decent, we had talked about perception.
Right.
And there's the clash between that perception and her definition of decency.
Thank you.
What will that produce?
So that's why I spoke about experience, right? Because at the end of the day, experience is the best teacher.
So you may have lost something to be able to gain that experience.
Thank you. Experience is the best teacher, because when you try to speak to a person about decency and they don't see it as necessary or important, and then they experience situations where they have communicated who they do not think that they are based on how they appear, and they've also been treated according to the perception that they have given of themselves they will learn from that experience.
Please, viewers, don't learn from your negative experiences. Put your acts together. All right, we're drawing to a close. The second arm of this conversation is the budget, right? Money, 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 money. Should that be a consideration when I decide to, dress up? Is that an excuse to be scruffy, smelly, not look good, not look elegant, not look decent?
One is not an excuse for not looking good and tidy and well put together. The beautiful thing about fashion is there is something for every budget. That's a beautiful thing.
True.
For fashion. So if you have a certain style and a designer, for example, one of those designer brands, produce something for, let's say, $2,000, there will be a local tailor,
They can replicate
seamstress, fashion house,
True.
that can make something similar. I'm not saying go imitate people's designs, but that can make something similar in that style, not like replicating the design, but to just give you that same feel, that appeal. Within your own budget, there's always someone who would,
Give it a try.
be willing to give it a try and produce something for you. Definitely it won't be the same quality, it cannot be the same details. But when it comes to fashion, there is always something for every budget. So all you need to do is be intentional about it. And then when you seek, you will find. You will find good tailors, good seamstresses, good fashion houses that are producing things that are suitable for you within your budget. So not having enough money is not an excuse.
Not having enough money is not an excuse. I have picked up that. Right. As we draw to a close, let us talk about a lady's sense of self-worth. I know you've written a book on self-esteem.
Self-esteem,
Yes. Now, how does her outfit impact on her sense of self-worth, self-esteem, and all of that?
I think I previously addressed that when I talked about, that confidence, confidence you feel when you dress up and look at yourself in the mirror and just know that you look good. Because now, the more you love yourself, self-esteem is basically self-love. The more you love yourself, it's just like anything that you love. You have a child that you love. What do? You raise that child. You take care of them. You're concerned about how they appear, how they look in public. But the thing is, oftentimes we claim we love ourselves, but we don't even care for ourselves the way we care for other people or things that we actually love. So for you to help improve your self-esteem, you must be intentional about loving yourself, right? You must first of all be impressed by your appearance before you even seek anyone's validation. Because you should not be dependent on other people's compliment to know that you look good.
Right.
You shouldn't be dependent. Those should be add-ons. So when someone tells you you look good, it shouldn't be surprising.
I already
to you.
know.
You already know. You don't have to tell them you already know, by the way. But you already know, and then you just respond in affirmation to what you already know. Because you have taken time to take care of yourself. So you have to be intentional. When you love, like I said earlier, when you love a child, you do things that makes this child see and know that you love them. Right? And when you love people, you do things for them that make them see that you love them. And that is exactly what you should do to yourself and for yourself. And the more that you begin to show yourself this love, the better you feel, the more you want to love yourself. So it's all about being intentional. Don't think that, it should be love your neighbors as you love yourself. So
yes,
if
that's
you don't
from
love
you.
yourself, how do you love your neighbors? How do you love other people?
And you know the interesting thing, you could even doubt the compliments
Thank you.
if you don't love yourself.
Because you don't even believe that you're worthy of compliment.
You can't receive it.
Yeah.
What would be your advice to ladies out there who are listening to you and are wondering, after all these things you have said, this thing still they had me, but I don't hear you. What would be your advice to those ladies?
Well, my advice is simple. Like I earlier said, love yourself, be intentional about your personal development. Seize every opportunity to evolve. And when I'm talking about this evolution, it's not just about what you wear, it's not just about how you look, it's holistic, it's everything. How you live life, the things that you allow, the kind of company that you keep. Set healthy boundaries. Make sure that, the people that you allow into your space are the people who are inspirational to you, who are going to influence you positively to become the woman that you're aspiring to become. So it's that simple. You have to be intentional about it. Otherwise, before you know it, 5 years has gone by, 10 years has gone by, and nothing has changed. So if you start that journey of personal development and being intentional today, you will be very impressed with how far you have come in just 1 year.
What an amazing conversation we have had today. We have gone from looking stylish on a budget to personal development to being intentional. What haven't you heard today? You have no excuse. You have to make it this year, like this, you have to make it. All right. No matter the size of your budget, your wardrobe should never lose the important elements of decency and elegance. You don't need to break the bank to look good. Our guest said there are other designers, seamstresses, fashion houses who can give you just what makes you look you. So don't lose that next opportunity to inelegant dressing. Let your outfit be a reflection of both who you are and your future self. A big thank you to our elegant Lady Etty. Meanwhile, did you see how she sat? Did you? Oh my goodness. Thank you for sharing the space with us. We enjoyed every bit of this conversation. I hope you'll come again.
Definitely.
All right.
Thank you very much.
So, till we come your way again next week, join us. Same time, same station for another thought-provoking edition of the show. Remain stylishly elegant, because you are worthy by design.